head hurt? Is it full? Good information? Nice. All right, well, we're going to geek out on a little bit about social media and building a global audience. But I want to try something. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now. I don't know about you guys, but the caffeine buzz is worn off. We have lunch, I get the afternoon blog, so if I could, I want to see if I can have everybody stand up for a second. I'm going to try something, guys. All right, if your last name begins with the letters A through M, put your hands like this. And if your last name is all the other letters, put your hands like this. All right, great, hold it. As if you're looking through. All right, you can sit down now. Thank you. I'm just going to tweet this out and say I got another standing ovation. Thank you. I'll be here all week. All right, so my name is Rick Bakas. You can find me on most social sites by adding Rick Bakas or Bakas Media at the end of the website. I have the distinction of being the first director of social media in the wine industry, which is a pretty cool thing. Starting in August 2009 till October of last year, I got to do a lot of trial and error in the world of social media. But we learned some things about engaging a global community, especially how it applies here to face-to-face. So what I'm going to show you is some things that we did with 1 or 2 people, because I know a lot of the businesses here, they're smaller, 1 or 2 people, and you can kind of replicate some of these things. So, if you're going to remember one thing about me, this one right here. Crisp, savory bacon. Who likes bacon? Yes, my kind of crowd, all right. Okay, so, I'll go deep fried every now and then. Hey, where's the pretzel lady? She? Yeah, those pretzels are good. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little example or case study of something we did last September that was called Cabernet Day. And if you saw it online anywhere, it had a hashtag Cabernet. And what happened is we basically had 9,000 tweets, 4,500 Facebook posts, 75 meetups. It was the largest virtual wine tasting in history. To create it, we had 3,000 to 5,000 people that came together for this global community for a 24-hour period. And all that it took was about 20 to 30 hours of my time to plan it. And that's really an important point to remember. When you're a small business, you don't have a lot of time. But what came out of that was pretty useful. So, I mean, if you were in the last social media session, one thing that we brought up is that email marketing is still important. It's still critical, and social media just complements all that. So one of the reasons we did it was to build our email list. And I think we got about 1,200 email addresses of qualified customers who told us that they're interested in Cabernet. It's a great thing. So it also engaged the community, tried to sell some wine. But here's the cool thing. Not a lot of people have done this sort of thing. Back in June, there was this thing called Social Media Day that Mashable did. It was sort of a similar idea, and it was executed the same way. It was just a celebration of social media. What we did, kind of like what we did, and what you guys can do, is take a position of power in your specific industry online. So if you take a moment and you try to organize some sort of an event and bring people together, there's probably a good chance that no one else is doing it. When you do that, you establish yourself sort of as a leader online.
Rick, can you go back to your first slide where you had some of the metrics up?
Yeah. And I can make this presentation available for download on SlideShare if it would be helpful. And then I posted something in the LinkedIn group. If you guys want to get a little one-on-one time, you have questions about your specific business, I'd be happy to take 5 minutes and answer any challenges that you might have going on. Is that good? And I appreciate that. I'm only going to talk for half the time, but I like to, in the second 20 minutes, be about question and answer and conversation. So when I do presentations, I really like it to be interactive and not just me standing up here droning on and on. But here's why Cabernet and social media and why these things work. One idea, what people are passionate about. Whatever it is, if it's pretzels or if it's, in this case, Cabernet, or if it's self-publishing, or if it's green propane, whatever it is, there's people out there that are passionate about it. So one idea becomes a hashtag. And that hashtag becomes the thread that sort of weaves everything together. So in the case of Cabernet Day, it was just a hashtag Cabernet. That was the one thing that held it all together. Second thing is really relates to why you're here, face to face. Online and offline complement each other like yin and yang. My father-in-law calls it pressing the flesh, which is in-person, face-to-face business. The things that we're doing right here, we can actually, once we all leave and we go back and we get to work on our businesses, you can actually continue talking to each other online. So when you have a balance of online, offline, you actually strengthen your relationships, which is a beautiful thing. When we did Cabernet Day, like this social media day, the who, what, where, when, why of that event, you got to kind of spell it out for anyone who wants to participate, right? So we created one page, which became, we use Eventbrite. And if you haven't looked at Eventbrite, I would check it out. It is one of the top 3 coolest social media tools. Have you used it? You're nodding your head.
What is it called?
Eventbrite, eventbrite.com. Well, I'll put a link later. I'm sorry, yeah, event, the word event, and then BRITE.com. And it's kind of like an RSVP engine, but it also, that's where you can capture email addresses, where you can customize what kind of stuff you want people to provide. But that one page becomes a URL. That URL becomes a shortened link. That little link becomes very portable and easy to share. And when characters are at a premium, 140 characters or less, that represents getting eyeballs to that page. So this becomes an easy thing to share. It's just bit.ly. You can actually track how many people click on your link, where they were. You get metrics about who it is that you're engaging. Now here's a cool thing about social media. You democratize ownership of an event. What we did with the Cabernet Day, if you have competitors in your field, invite everybody who is sort of in the same space. Now with wine's a little bit different, because if you want to go buy a bottle of Cabernet, there's 10,000 other wineries out there that are making Cabernet. If you go to buy a refrigerator, you're probably going to pick from 1 of 5 brands. So there's so much more competition. But when you really make it this community-owned event, you give everybody some skin in the game. What we basically said is, to everyone, send us your logo. If you want someone to click on your logo, tell us where you want to send them, Facebook page, website, wherever. We're not going to charge anything. All we ask is that you promote this to your email list, to your Facebook followers, or your Facebook friends, Twitter followers. And we said something like this page was going to get 10,000 views, which was about right. So to them, it's sort of like free exposure. It doesn't cost them anything. It's pretty easy for all these other companies. And the reason we did this, we'll get to in a second. It's called reach. But think about this. What other industry can you get your competition to promote you? How badass is that? Pretty cool. Please. So I was hired by a winery called St. Supri in Napa Valley. And my job as the director of social media was really putting in the foundation of customer service and online conversation, but it was really to try these different ways to engage new wine drinkers, but also build our brand and sell some wine.
So it was one of these brands, they were the ones that were doing this, discounts and all of this.
All these guys all make a Cabernet, so it was really
So I
about.
get that, but the person who initiated the whole.
Oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, but we didn't really promote that. We just sort of picked a date and a location and set up the Eventbrite page, but we really tried to step back and we didn't want to be the captain of the ship.